Hello, my favorite place to be out in the wilderness, and I want to share a little testimony with you. Um, I came into SDA church about 15 years ago after meeting a woman, and I, thought I was in love with her, so I got baptized so that I can get married to her, and it was no true conversion, so it didn't last. So eventually, we started having problems because I was not, really into going to church on the Sabbath and all that stuff. And, it led to other problems. And eventually it led to, our divorce. Um, and, God usually allows certain things to happen so we can turn to Him. I usually describe myself as a pilgrim after reading the Pilgrim's Progress, because it's my life and it's an ongoing thing. By no stretch of the imagination am I finished or my journey is over. And I find it so interesting. My walk with God has been one that has been so very difficult. I have looked at the situation with Job and so many others in the Bible, because these examples were given for us to realize that, these are things that are happening, and if you pay close attention to them, you will walk this way and you will be successful. And that's all it's for us to be successful in our walk, because we all have to carry that burden for souls. And carrying that burden for souls means that we must walk and do the things that Christ did and be subjected to some of the things that He was subjected to. I am not special, there's nothing about me, I'm just another sinner. And in this short testimony, I hope I don't try to make myself look like more than what I am. And if I do, please forgive me, because I'm not. I am simply nobody, and I mean that when I say that I am nobody. I've done so many things, so many evil, bad, deceptive things in my life. And if it were not for the grace of God, I know where I'd be, still doing those things, or dead. But, I hope that my testimony can help someone to change their life in some way or find a closer relationship with God. I think if I had if I was true to the calling, rather than being deceptive and marrying someone just to be with them, maybe my family would be together. And I say maybe because, like Job still lost his family and children, right? So there is a possibility that, maybe it would have happened. But I'm grateful to God anyway for whatever has happened, because all the things that have happened to me has only happened to bring me to this point. I was at one time, when I was married, the wife that I had, she wanted to go to law school, so and I was going through so much medical problems. I wanted to retire from my job, and so I did retire. And I was having back problems, and the back problems got worse, and so eventually, most of the money that I got from my retirement was, the usual, used for medical purposes. She went off to law school, and when she came back, she was a changed person. And, our marriage just took a dive for the worse and fast. So, And while she was off, I was looking after the two kids, and you know, one day I came home from dropping them to school, and I couldn't walk, and the ambulance had to be called, and I went to the hospital. Was supposed to have an operation on my back, didn't have it because there was an emergency. Person came in that needed surgery more than I did, and I was able to walk out of the hospital without having that operation because I was determined not to. And the doctor said the only way I can leave, and that's if I could walk. So I willed myself to walk, and since then I've found out more and about the health message and counsel writing, and you know, thanks to our offshoot ministry, God can use anything to reach people. And through this ministry, I was taught about the Sabbath and and sanctuary and all those stuff. But it was this ministry. It taught you all the laws and everything, but it didn't teach you anything but love. So while I was going through this difficulty, and on the way to divorce, I was basically working on rules and, thus saith the Lord and all of that. And this added to the destruction of my marriage rather than me finding the true love that Christ presents, that He gives, that He wants all of us to have. And, if I had known this, maybe it would have made a difference in, the way things worked out. But it didn't. But I did not. But, I just want to say that I love God, and my belief in Him has increased every day. And just like a pilgrim, I am on this journey, and this journey is taking me places that I've never anticipated going. There was once I said to someone, I said, hey, something, if when I accepted Christ in 2011, if I had known that, because in the Sunday church, they always taught you that, when you become a Christian, riches and all these good stuff and all that would happen. And I found out that all that was a lie. And like I said, when I found out the true purpose and the reason for Christ coming, I said, if I had known this, boy, I probably would not have accepted Him, because, in and of ourselves, this thing that He's asked us to do, we cannot do on our own, but we have to rely upon Him totally. And so I'm at a point in my life where, I'm learning more to trust Him. I just went through something recently where Satan seeked to shut me up, and he did a good job. I had a very serious experience, and where I thought my relationship with God was, I found out that it was not. And the guilt of what has happened has made me look at my relationship with God in a new light. And now, I am back on my journey as a pilgrim back home to the Father's house. I like to tell people that the purpose of a Christian or a true believer is to go out. We have been given the Great Commission. And when you go out, it's like when you encounter someone, you come to them, you talk to them, and you say, hey, that is the way back to the Father's house. When you point them the way back so they know which way to go. And that is the whole purpose of man. Israel was given the awesome responsibility of teaching the world the health message so that their minds would be clear to understand and receive God. But we have fallen down on that message. And right now, I beg God to forgive me. Forgive me, a new convert, a man that's a sinner, who needs grace and mercy